Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, the first novel in the immensely popular Harry Potter series by British writer J.K. Rowling. It was first published in Britain in 1997 and appeared in the United States the following year under the title Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. The book's imaginative storyline about a boy wizard made it an enduring hit with both children and adults. Summary: 10-year-old Harry Potter is an orphan who lives in the fictional London suburb of Little Whinging, Surrey, with the Dursleys, his uncaring Aunt Petunia, loathsome Uncle Vernon, and spoiled cousin Dudley. The Dursleys barely tolerate Harry, and Dudley bullies him. One day, Harry is astonished to receive a letter addressed to him in the cupboard under the stairs, where he sleeps. Before he can open the letter, however, Uncle Vernon takes it. Letters for Harry subsequently arrive each day, in increasing numbers, but Uncle Vernon tears them all up, and finally, in an attempt to escape the missives, the Dursleys go to a miserable shack on a small island. On Harry's 11th birthday, a giant named Hagrid arrives and reveals that Harry is a wizard, and that he has been accepted at the Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry. He also sheds light on Harry's past, informing the boy that his parents, a wizard and a witch, were killed by the evil wizard Voldemort, and that Harry acquired the lightning bolt scar on his forehead during the fatal confrontation. Upon arrival at the school, the students are sorted into one of 4 houses: Gryffindor, Hufflepuff, Ravenclaw, or Slytherin. Harry ends up in Gryffindor, and during his eventful first year at Hogwarts, he becomes close friends with 2 other members of the house, Ron Weasley, who comes from an old wizarding family, and Hermione Granger, whose parents are muggles, those who are not magical. Harry also finds that he has an enemy in Draco Malfoy, Slytherin. In addition, Harry's prowess in flying on a broomstick makes him a star of Gryffindor's Quidditch team. Hoping to get Harry and his friends into trouble, Draco tricks them into leaving their rooms one night, a violation of school rules. While trying to avoid being caught, they discover a 3-headed dog guarding a trapdoor. Harry gradually comes to the conclusion that Professor Snape, who teaches potions, dislikes him intensely and is trying to get hold of whatever is behind the trapdoor. Harry receives his father's cloak of invisibility as a Christmas gift, and while exploring under the cloak's cover, he finds the Mirror of Erised, in which he can see his parents. Later, Headmaster Albus Dumbledore explains that the mirror shows the viewer's deepest desire. Harry, Ron, and Hermione deduce that the treasure under the trapdoor is the Philosopher's Stone, which can transform metal into gold and can also confer immortality. They later discover that Voldemort has been killing unicorns in the Forbidden Forest and drinking their blood, another way to achieve immortality. The trio comes to believe that Snape is in league with the evil wizard. After learning that Hagrid revealed the secret way to lull the 3-headed dog to sleep to a suspicious stranger, whom they believe to be either Snape or Voldemort, they are certain that the Philosopher's Stone is in danger. The 3 classmates use the Cloak of Invisibility on a secret mission to get the stone themselves to keep it from Voldemort. After getting past the dog and defeating various protective spells, Harry reaches the room in which the stone is hidden and is surprised to find the perpetually nervous Professor Quirrell there. Quirrell fails to figure out how to retrieve the stone from the Mirror of Erised, the final protective measure, and forces Harry to try. When standing in front of the mirror, wishing only to protect the stone and not use it for himself, Harry feels the stone's weight in his pocket but refuses to tell Quirrell that he has it. Quirrell unwraps his turban, revealing Voldemort's face on the back of his head. Voldemort explains that he has been sharing Quirrell's body until he can get to the stone and become fully alive again, and Voldemort slash Quirrell and Harry fight for possession of the stone until Harry blacks out. He awakens in the infirmary and learns that Dumbledore saved him. The stone is to be destroyed, and Voldemort escaped. Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone is an enthralling start to Harry's journey toward coming to terms with his past and facing his future. It was the first book written by Rowling, and she was praised for creating well-rounded characters and a fully realized wizard universe that coexisted with the present world. An almost immediate critical and popular success, it was translated into some 60 languages. The 6 later novels about Harry's further adventures at Hogwarts were equally popular. The film Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, 2001, was also a blockbuster, Harry Potter, fictional character, a boy wizard created by British author J.K. Rowling. His coming-of-age exploits are the subject of 7 enormously popular novels, 1997-2007, which were adapted into 8 films, 2001-11. A play and a book of its script appeared in 2016. Harry Potter was first introduced in the novel Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, 1997, also published as Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, as an orphan who is mistreated by his guardian aunt and uncle and their son. On his 11th birthday, Harry discovers that his parents were a witch and a wizard, and that he, a wizard himself, has been invited to attend Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry. He also learns that his parents had not perished in a car accident, as his aunt and uncle had told him, but that they instead had been murdered by an evil wizard named Voldemort. Harry was the only person to have ever survived an attack by Voldemort, by somehow rebounding the latter's killing curse, which left him with a lightning bolt-shaped scar on his forehead. Indeed, Harry's mysterious survival had all but killed Voldemort, who was left disembodied, and the young boy was thus already a celebrated figure in the wizarding community. At Hogwarts, Harry becomes fast friends with classmates Ron Weasley and Hermione Granger, and finds a rival in Draco Malfoy. He is taken under the wing of the school's headmaster, Albus Dumbledore. These relationships persist throughout the series, especially as the young wizards and witches grow older and are called upon to take sides in a growing wizard war. Unbeknownst to Harry, and to much of the wizarding world in general, Voldemort is planning a return to power. Although at first feeble and living as a parasite in a follower's body, Voldemort makes attempts on Harry's life beginning in the first book and continuing throughout the series. In the 4th volume, Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire 2000, Voldemort regains his body and former strength through a magic ritual, and thereafter his army greatly increases in number. Harry and those who side with him, including some of his teachers, several classmates, and other members of the wizarding community, are forced on multiple occasions to battle Voldemort and his disciples, including the Malfoy family. The epic saga culminates with Harry accepting his role as the iconic boy who lived, and facing almost certain death in the struggle against the evil wizard. With help from those who love him and believe in him, he is able to emerge victorious. Harry's story continues in the play Harry Potter and the Cursed Child, which premiered in 2016.
Music licensing
In the production, which was based on a story co-written by Rowling, Harry is married to Ginny Weasley, and they are the parents of James Sirius, Albus Severus, and Lily Luna. Although working for the Ministry of Magic, Harry continues to struggle with his past, while Albus must contend with his father's legacy. Influence. The Harry Potter series proved incredibly popular with both children and adults worldwide. All the books were bestsellers, available in more than 200 countries and some 60 languages. The phenomenon introduced new terms, such as a new definition for the word muggle, a person who possesses no magical powers, into the common lexicon. The books were transformed into a blockbuster series of 8 films. The final book, some 750 pages long, was adapted into 2 films, released over 10 years, which grossed more than $7 billion worldwide. Together, the book and movie series spawned a huge amount of related merchandise, and in 2010, a theme park inspired by the franchise opened in the United States. On film, Harry Potter was portrayed by Daniel Radcliffe, at the time a relatively unknown child actor. His friends Ron and Hermione were played by Rupert Grint and Emma Watson, respectively. Irish actor Richard Harris assumed the role of Dumbledore for the first 2 films and was replaced after his death by Michael Gambon for the remainder of the series. Voldemort was played by Ralph Fiennes, and his followers included Tom Felton as Draco Malfoy and Helena Bonham Carter as the Mad Witch Bellatrix Lestrange, among others. Fantasy, imaginative fiction that relies on strangeness of setting, such as other worlds or times, and of characters, such as supernatural or unnatural beings. Examples include William Shakespeare's A Midsummer Night's Dream, 1600, Jonathan Swift's Gulliver's Travels, 1726, J.R.R. Tolkien's The Lord of the Rings, 1954-55, T.H. White's The Once and Future King, 1958, and Sarah J. Maas's A Court of Thorns and Roses, 2015.
Music licensing.
Science fiction can be seen as a form of fantasy, but the terms are not interchangeable, as science fiction usually is set in the future and is based on some aspect of science or technology, while fantasy is set in an imaginary world and features the magic of mythical beings. Romantasy is a subgenre that blends fantasy with elements of the romance novel genre. It became popular in the 21st century, pioneered by such writers as Maas and Rebecca Yarros. Philosopher's Stone, in Western alchemy, an unknown substance, also called the tincture or the powder, sought by alchemists for its supposed ability to transform base metals into precious ones, especially gold and silver. Alchemists also believed that an elixir of life could be derived from it. Inasmuch as alchemy was concerned with the perfection of the human soul, the Philosopher's Stone was thought to cure illnesses, prolong life, and bring about spiritual revitalization. The process by which it was hoped common metals such as iron, lead, tin, and copper could be turned into the more valuable metals involved heating the base material in a characteristic pear-shaped glass crucible, called the vase of Hermes or the philosopher's egg. Color changes were carefully watched, black indicating the death of the old material preparatory to its revitalization, white, the color required for change into silver, and red, the highest stage, the color required for change into gold. The Philosopher's Stone, variously described, was sometimes said to be a common substance, found everywhere but unrecognized and unappreciated. The quest for the stone encouraged alchemists from the Middle Ages to the end of the 17th century to examine in their laboratories numerous substances and their interactions. The quest thereby provided a body of knowledge that ultimately led to the sciences of chemistry, metallurgy, and pharmacology. Magic, a concept used to describe a mode of rationality or way of thinking that looks to invisible forces to influence events, affect change in material conditions, or present the illusion of change. Within the Western tradition, this way of thinking is distinct from religious or scientific modes. However, such distinctions and even the definition of magic are subject to wide debate. Nature and scope. Practices classified as magic include divination, astrology, incantations, alchemy, sorcery, spirit mediation, and necromancy. The term magic is also used colloquially in Western popular culture to refer to acts of conjuring and sleight of hand for entertainment. The purpose of magic is to acquire knowledge, power, love, or wealth, to heal or ward off illness or danger, to guarantee productivity or success in an endeavor, to cause harm to an enemy, to reveal information, to induce spiritual transformation, to trick, or to entertain. The effectiveness of magic is often determined by the condition and performance of the magician, who is thought to have access to unseen forces and special knowledge of the appropriate words and actions to manipulate those forces. Phenomena associated or confused with magic include forms of mysticism, medicine, paganism, heresy, witchcraft, shamanism, voodoo, and superstition. Magic is sometimes divided into the high magic of the intellectual elite, bordering on science, and the low magic of common folk practices. A distinction is also made between black magic, used for nefarious purposes, and white magic, ostensibly used for beneficial purposes. Although these boundaries are often unclear, magical practices have a sense of otherness because of the supernatural power that is believed to be channeled through the practitioner, who is a marginalized or stigmatized figure in some societies and a central one in others. Elements of magic. Spells. The performance of magic involves words, e.g., spells, incantations, or charms, and symbolic numbers that are thought to have innate power, natural or man-made material objects, and ritual actions performed by the magician or other participants. A spell or incantation is believed to draw power from spiritual agencies to accomplish magic. Knowledge of spells or symbolic numbers is often secret, occult, and the possessor of such knowledge can be either greatly revered or feared. In some cases, the spell is the most highly regarded component of the magical rite or ceremony. The Trobriand Islanders of Melanesia, for example, regarded using the right words in the right way as essential to the efficacy of the rite being performed. Among the Maori of New Zealand, the power of words is thought to be so important that that mistakes in public recitations are believed to cause disasters for individuals or the community. Moreover, like the medieval European charms that used archaic languages and parts of the Latin liturgy, spells often employ an esoteric vocabulary that adds to the respect accorded rites. Belief in the transformative power of words is also common in many religions. Shamans, spirit mediums, and mystics, for example, repeat specific sounds or syllables to achieve an ecstatic state of contact with spiritual forces or an enlightened state of consciousness. Even modern magic for entertainment retains a residual of the spell with its use of the term abracadabra.
Music licensing
Material.
reimagined.
Much anthropological literature refers to the objects used in magic as medicines, hence the popular use of the term medicine man for magician. These medicines include herbs, animal parts, gemstones, sacred objects, or props used in performance, and are thought to be potent in themselves or empowered by incantations or rituals. In some cases, medicines that are intended to heal are physiologically effective. For example, the poppy is used widely as an anesthetic, willow bark is used by some Chinese as an analgesic, and garlic and onions were used as antibiotics in medieval Europe. Other medicines that are meant to cause harm, such as toad extracts and bufadienolides, are in fact known poisons. Other materials have a symbolic relationship to the intended outcome, as with divination from animal parts. In scapulomancy, divination from a sheep's shoulder bone. For example, the sheep's bone reflects the macrocosmic forces of the universe. In sorcery, a magician may employ something belonging to the intended victim, e.g., hair, nail pairings, or a piece of clothing, as part of the ritual. The rite itself may be symbolic, as with the drawing of protective circles in which to call up spirits, the sprinkling of water on the ground to make rain, or the destruction of a wax image to harm a victim. Plants or other objects can also symbolize desired outcomes. In rites to ensure a canoe's speed, the Trobriand use light vegetable leaves to represent the ease with which the craft will glide over the water. The Zandi of South Sudan place a stone in a tree fork to postpone the setting of the sun, and many Balkan peoples once swallowed gold to cure jaundice. Rites and condition of the performer. Because magic is based on performance, ritual and the magician's knowledge and ability play a significant role in its efficacy. The performance of magic also presumes an audience, either the spiritual forces addressed, the patient client, or the community. Both the magician and the rite itself are concerned with the observance of taboos and the purification of the participants. Magicians, like priests presiding over religious rituals, observe restrictions of diet or sexual activity to demarcate the rite from ordinary and profane activities and to invest it with sanctity. Modern magicians' success with entertaining audiences is dependent primarily on their performance skills in manipulating material objects to create an illusion. Functions. Foremost among the many roles magic plays are its instrumental and expressive functions. Based in the attempt to influence nature or human behavior, magic's instrumental function is measured by its efficacy in achieving the desired result. Anthropologists identify three main types of instrumental magic: the productive, the protective, and the destructive. Productive magic is employed to solicit a successful outcome from human labor or nature, such as bountiful hunt or harvest or good weather. Protective magic aims to defend an individual or community from the vagaries of nature and the evil of others. The use of amulets to ward off contagious diseases or the recitation of charms before a journey are examples of this protective function. Lastly, destructive magic, or sorcery, is intended to harm others, often is motivated by envy, and is socially disruptive. Consequently, the use of counter-magic against sorcery may relieve some social tension within a community. Magic's expressive function results from the symbolic and social meanings attached to its practices, though its performers may not necessarily be aware of this function. Magic can provide a sense of group identity through shared rituals that give power or strength to members. At the same time, it can isolate the magician as a special person within or on the margins of society. Magic can also serve as a creative outlet or form of entertainment.
Artlist.io.
It is, therefore, inseparable from the total system of thought, belief, and practice in a given society. Definitional issues: magic, religion, and science. The term magic cannot be defined in isolation because of its broad parameters, important role in many societies, and interactions with related phenomena.
Reimagined.
Magic is a generic label used by outsiders, theoretically, objective observers, to describe specific practices in societies in which this word or its conceptual equivalent may not even exist. As a result, diverse phenomena are lumped together on the assumption that they operate in the same way. This artificial construct of magic also exists only in relation to what it is not, primarily religion and science as alternate modes of rationality.
Artlist.io.
Such definitions of magic privilege cultures with a strong scientific orientation and stigmatize those that practice magic instead of religion. Consequently, defining magic and identifying magicians requires an understanding of the cultural contexts in which these labels are used. Although magic has an ambiguous relationship with Western religion and science, it is rooted in the main institutional, social, and intellectual traditions in Western history. Moreover, modern attempts to arrive at a universal definition of magic reflect a Western bias. In particular, 18th and 19th century views on cultural and historical evolution set magic apart from religion and science. In a model developed by the British anthropologist Sir James Fraser, 1854–1941, magic is characterized as an early stage in human development, superseded first by religion and then by science. The debate over the relationship between magic, religion, and science that dominated much of the discussion about magic throughout the 20th century is evident in the fieldwork of anthropologists, the theories of sociologists of religion, and critiques by postmodernists. Consequently, research in comparative religions, history, and anthropology in the second half of the 20th century moved away from the evolutionary model toward more context-sensitive interpretations, while other studies developed new models for cross-cultural comparison. Nonetheless, the magic religion science model retains considerable interpretive power, and the dichotomies used to distinguish magic from religion or science are pervasive in popular discourse. Magic and religion. Magic continues to be widely perceived as an archaic worldview, a form of superstition lacking the intrinsic spiritual value of religion or the rational logic of science. Religion, according to seminal anthropologist Sir Edward Burnett Tylor, 1832–1917, involves a direct, personal relationship between humans and spiritual forces. In religion's highest form, that relationship is with a personal, conscious, omnipotent spiritual being. Magic, on the other hand, is characterized as external, impersonal, and mechanical, involving technical acts of power. Magic seeks to manipulate spiritual powers, while religious prayer supplicates spiritual forces, a distinction explored by Bronislaw Malinowski, 1884–1942, in his work on the Trobriand Islanders. Moreover, according to Emil Durkheim, 1858–1917, religion is communal because its adherents, bound together by shared belief, form a church. Magic, on the other hand, involves no permanent ties between believers and only temporary ties between individuals and the magicians who perform services for them. The fieldwork of A.R. Radcliffe Brown, 1880–1955, among the Andaman Islanders, however, has made clear that magic, too, may have a communal dimension. Magic and science. Although magic is similar in some respects to science and technology, it approaches efficacy, the ability to produce a desired material outcome, differently. Magic, like religion, is concerned with invisible, non-empirical forces. Yet, like science, it also makes claims to efficacy. Unlike science, which measures outcomes through empirical and experimental means, magic invokes a symbolic cause-effect relationship. Moreover, like religion and unlike science, magic has an expressive function in addition to its instrumental function. Magical rainmaking strategies, for example, may or may not be efficacious. but they serve the expressive purpose of reinforcing the social importance of rain and farming to a community. Subcategories of magic. The view of magic as pre-religious or
Music
non-scientific
licensing
has
reimagined.
contributed both to subtle distinctions between magic and other practices and to the recognition of subcategories of magic. Notably, anthropologists distinguish magic from witchcraft, defining the former as the manipulation of an external power by mechanical or behavioral means to affect others, and the latter as an inherent personal quality that allows the witch to achieve the same ends. However, the line between the two is not always clear, and in some parts of the world an individual may operate in both ways. Similarly, the distinction between black magic and white magic is obscure since both practices often use the same means and are performed by the same person. Scholars also distinguish between magic and divination, whose purpose is not to influence events,
Music
but to
licensing
predict or understand
reimagined.
them. Nevertheless, the mystical power of diviners may be thought to be the same as that behind magic. Ultimately, despite these distinctions and the variety of unique roles that practitioners play in their own societies, most end up classified under the universal term magician. Often even religious figures such as priests, shamans, and prophets are identified as magicians because many of their activities include acts defined as magical by modern scholars. In the end, distinctions between magic and religion or science are harder to make in practice than in theory. Scholars therefore use labels such as magico-religious to describe activities or persons who cross this artificial dividing line. Similarly, the boundary between magic and science is permeable,
Music
since the modern
licensing
scientific
reimagined.
method, observation and experimentation, evolved from forms of scientific magic, such as alchemy and astrology. Thus, the evolutionary model, which draws sharp distinctions between magic, religion, and science, cannot account for the essential similarity between various phenomena. Moreover, dichotomies that define magic in relation to other phenomena are reductionist, often ignoring the meaningful structures and beliefs that inform these practices in their native context. Conceptual history. The claim that magic is found in all human societies rests on a definition that is rooted in Western cultural assumptions, and both these assumptions and the use of the term magic have undergone change over time and place. Consequently, to
Music
understand beliefs and
licensing
practices in
reimagined.
other societies that appear similar to European magic, it is necessary to apply the context-sensitive and comparative methods that become increasingly important in the study of anthropology, history, and religion. History of magic in Western worldviews. The Western conception of magic is rooted in the ancient Judeo-Christian and Greco-Roman heritage. The tradition took further shape in Northern Europe during the medieval and early modern period, before spreading to other parts of the globe through European exploration and colonialism after
Music
1500.
licensing reimagined.
The view of Western civilization as a story of progress includes the magic religion science paradigm that traces the rise and decline of magic, and then religion, along with the final triumph of science, a model now challenged by scholars. Moreover, the very origins of the word magic raise questions about ways in which one person's religion is another person's magic, and vice versa. Ancient Mediterranean world. The root word for magic, Greek, magia, Latin. Magia derives from the Greek term mage, which refers to a Median tribe in Persia and their religion, Zoroastrianism. The Greco-Roman tradition held that magicians possessed arcane or secret knowledge and the ability to channel power from or through any of the polytheistic deities, spirits, or
Music
ancestors of the
licensing
ancient
reimagined.
pantheons. Indeed, many of the traditions associated with magic in the classical world derive from a fascination with ancient Middle Eastern beliefs and are concerned with a need for counter-magic against sorcery. Spells uttered by sorcerers and addressed to gods, to fire, to salt, and to grain are recorded from Mesopotamia and Egypt. These texts also reveal the practice of necromancy, invoking the spirits of the dead, who were regarded as the last defense against evil magic. Greco-Egyptian papyruses from the 1st to the 4th century CE, for example, include magical recipes involving animals and animal substances, along with instructions for the ritual preparations necessary to ensure the efficacy of the spells. Divination took many
Music
forms,
licensing
from the
reimagined.
Etruscan art of haruspicinna, reading entrails of animal sacrifices, to the Roman practice of augury, interpreting the behavior of birds, and was widely practiced as a means of determining propitious times to engage in specific activities. It often played a role in political decision-making. Ancient Roman society was particularly concerned with sorcery and counter-sorcery. Contests associated with the development of competitive new
Artlist.io.
urban classes, whose members had to rely on their own efforts in both material and magical terms to defeat their rivals and attain success. Ambivalence toward magic carried into the early Christian era of the Roman Empire and its subsequent heirs in Europe and Byzantium. In the Gospel according to Matthew,
Music
the
licensing
Magi who appeared at the birth
reimagined.
of Jesus Christ were both Persian foreigners of Greco-Roman conception and wise astrologers. As practitioners of a foreign religion, they seemed to validate the significance of Jesus' birth. However, magus, the singular form of magi, has a negative connotation in the New Testament in the account of Simon Magus, Acts 8:9-25, the magician who attempted to buy the miraculous power of the disciples of Christ. In medieval
Artlist.io.
European Christian legends, his story developed into a dramatic contest between true religion, with its divine miracles, and false demonic magic, with its illusions. Nonetheless, belief in the reality of occult powers and the need for Christian counter-rituals persisted. For example, in the Byzantine belief
Music
in the
licensing
evil eye
reimagined.
cast by the envious, which was thought to be demonically inspired, and from which Christians needed protection through divine remedies. Medieval Europe. During the period of Europe's conversion to Christianity, c. 300–1050,
Artlist.io.
magic was strongly identified with paganism. The label Christian missionaries used to demonize the religious beliefs of Celtic, Germanic, and Scandinavian peoples. Church leaders simultaneously appropriated and Christianized native practices and beliefs. For example, medicinal
Music
remedies found in
licensing
monastic
reimagined.
manuscripts combined Christian formulas and rites with Germanic folk rituals to empower natural ingredients to cure ailments caused by poisons, elf attack, demonic possession, or other invisible forces. Another Christianized practice, bibliomancy, divination through the random selection of a biblical text, was codified in the 11th century divinatory psalter of the Orthodox Slavs. Although co-opted and condemned by Christian leaders of this
Artlist.io.
period, magic survived in a complex relationship with the dominant religion. Similar acculturation processes occurred in later conversions in Latin America and Africa, where indigenous beliefs in spiritual forces and magical practices coexist, sometimes uneasily, with Christian theology.
Music licensing
In high
reimagined.
medieval Europe, c. 1050–1350, the battle between religion and magic occurred as the struggle against heresy, the Church's label for perverted Christian belief. Magicians, like heretics, were believed to distort or abuse Christian rites to do the devil's work. By the 15th century, belief in the reality of human pacts with the devil and the magical powers acquired through them contributed to the persecution of those accused of actually harming others with their magic. Also in the High Middle Ages, the demonization of Muslims and Jews contributed to the suspicion of the other. Marginal groups were routinely accused of ritual baby killing. In lurid accounts of the blood libel, Jews were charged with stealing Christian children for sacrifice. Similar
Music
accusations
licensing
were made against
reimagined.
witches by Christians and against Christians by the ancient Romans.